they have a right here, taking the gold pretty quickly on... Oh, sorry, this is post-youth. What am I saying? A little bit different. Anyways, they have a right in the blue. It's dark. Bottom left here, this best of 5 for the Rebellion. It's ByuN. And I don't really know how to feel about post-youth. I really don't. Because on the one hand, I look at this and I say, wow, this sucks for Zerg. It's a free and base natural. You can go CC first. You can go Nexus first, maybe. And it's really hard for the Zerg to punish. And that's my initial thought on the map. Right? That's kind of what I looked at. Like, ah, man, this in-base maps with in-base naturals are just so bad for Zerg in the modern era. Just because, again, it gives so much economy. So Zerg's weird, right? When we talk about how this is going to happen. As the Reaper goes in, great KDA charge. Denies a little bit of mining for the early game. It actually matters a little amount. Not going to get any links for now. Nice micro coming out of Dark. But, so, you know, that's part one of it, right? Where Zerg, you let them go and they're going to scale massively. They're going to build a ton of workers and injects 3 hatch. Sure. When you're on 2 hatch, right? When you're sitting in this position, you can't really getting the base as quick as possible is actually, you know, and that's much better for the other races because it generally takes until 3 hatch triple inject for, say, for example, in a ZVP for the Zerg player to really get ahead of things. But okay, ByuN 3 racks 311. This is a build he does 3 racks 3 CC. This is a build he does a ton. Actually, against Protoss, well, not a ton, but he does it, you know, somewhat consistently against Protoss players. It's pretty cool. What it gives you a lot of Marines. It gives you stim, certainly, a lot of Marines and a lot of economy. Now, what you fall behind on is your tech. Starport factory, much slower than it might otherwise be. So that is something that you got to pay attention to. But for now, ByuN, so this moves out at like 5 minutes if you want to make that happen. It's a lot of bio. Now, post-youth is a long map. So even as I say, yeah, technically in-base natural kind of does suck for Zerg. The third base is very far away from the natural. That's also bad. That's not great. It's also a pretty big map. And that traditionally is also very good for Zerg. Because what that means is, say, the Terran rally, it's not as tightly bundled together. You can win a fight, not run into like a bunch more Marines in your face pretty much immediately. So there are benefits there. So I'm just not totally sure how I feel about it. Now, when we talk about this series, by the way, so we're just waiting for ByuN to get his stim combat shield time and underway. In a best of 5, ByuN and Dark played each other quite a bit, 47 versus 48 all time. Right now, LA Galak thinks that ByuN is, well, that Dark's a little bit favored, even though ByuN is TVZ form, a little bit more than Dark's, but LA Galak thinks it's a 3-1. I'd believe any scoreline. I think ByuN and Dark are pretty evenly matched. Dark maybe has a minor advantage. What was that? What was that number actually? Yeah, 60-40. 55-45. I think I'd probably put it closer. It's close enough where it's it's maybe a minor advantage. Yeah. But for now, Dark, he's got his third base up. Okay, interesting. He's not going to take the low ground goal. I think that's fair. You're really afraid of tank pushes on this map. There are some excellent positions to siege into. So, yeah, take the more defensive base. Don't hate that for Dark. He's Marines now, they're kind of hiding. ByuN doesn't want to show them just yet. Stim combat shield done in 4 seconds. Now, it seems like Dark has caught wind of what's happening. Was there an Overlord? Okay, it looks like maybe a Link saw what's happening. I don't know. But anyway, Banelings are getting morphed here. So Dark is being very safe, very defensive. Queens are on the way. And you know what? ByuN doesn't have to do a ton with this. He doesn't have to commit. He's got 1-1 on the way. It might be it's actually pretty well timed out with the Zerg player. And that's why I think this build is just, it's very interesting to me. Because on the one hand, technically you should be behind in some way with this. And yeah, your medevacs are a little slower than they would otherwise be. But you get your upgrades well timed. You get a lot of bio. Like if you just decide not to move out and you don't want to trade your units, it's actually kind of a solid macro opener. But anyways, Dark 5th base on the way here on the gold base. But look at what ByuN's doing, by the way. He's not taking the pocket. He's not taking what would be the third base as his third base. He's taking the fourth base as his third base, and that gives him a okay, I was gonna say that gives him a really strong pushing position. So double drop getting ready here. Double medevac, of course, 16 Marines in those medevacs. Stim done. 1-1 not done yet, but Stim combat shields, the kind of the key upgrades. Also working really hard on the Xel'Naga tower, so he's got a lot of vision. And by taking this third base, he has a straight path into this gold base and to pushing like that. So ByuN, when you talk about how this is going to push, it actually can turn out really nicely. This rally is going to be defended, or his third base is going to be defended by the rally. And a wise man once said that all roads lead to 8 racks. I don't know if that's true today, or I don't know if that's true always, but today, absolutely. 3 more barracks on the way. 1-1 just about done. ByuN starting to build that supply up. Nice target fire. Gets a single Bane, but there's too much right there. But here's the questions now. Again, we're going to see some creep spread go down. ByuN, he wants this high ground position. So again, wants to make sure that creep spread's going to go down ASAP. And with this Xel'Naga, I mean, run bys are so hard with the tank on the Xel'Naga here. I mean, we're seeing what's happening. That is a really hard position for Dark to find. But my question, I guess, is whether ByuN adds add-ons to these 8 racks. Is this the Clem 8 racks? I gotta go right now. I'm building 3 more Marines at a time out of this. Or is it the kind of the more conservative one? There's a world, by the way, where these are 3 tech collabs, and he goes the Cure Marauder 228 racks build, which is also pretty cool, right? You go and you have all this stuff tanking for it, but no. This is just the most classic version of the 8 racks. So 3 more reactors going down. He's gonna build 14 Marines at a time, something like that. 15 Marines at a time. And I think this gold base is just dead. I don't really, yeah, there's, Dark's not even trying. He has the, well, yeah, he has the position, but it's just not really gonna work. He even cancels the, that's good. That's a good deal. He even cancels the Hydras. They were gonna go down anyways, and Hydras, you know, this stage of the game, they can be pretty expensive. So ByuN gets the 5th base. That's step 1 of an 8 racks, but remember, this is, 8 racks is, it's funny how 8 racks have developed. ByuN, he just, can we even really call this an 8 racks? Because it is, you know, but he just got the 8 racks marginally before he's got his 4th base on the way. It's not like he's super all in on this. 4th base, about halfway done. It's on location. But with all the pressure he's putting on, that actually means it's got to be pretty safe. Now, I'm paying attention to this drop on the right side, though. That's a lot of Lings. That's a lot of Banes. Dark thinking about it. We saw him selecting it right there. And now, as ByuN commits to this, here's the Baneling run by. It's going to get right through the wall here. It's an early warning sign, though. So ByuN lifts the orbital. I'm not really sure why. Just to make sure, I guess, the SCVs get away. Banelings try to get on top of what they can. 4 workers are going to go down. That's going to be a little bit better. 9 total SCVs. Tank should fall. 2nd tank goes down. Nice run by from Dark. 10 SCVs actually die. But now he's going to try to take advantage of the 2nd part of this. ByuN's distracted. The army's a little bit disjointed. Banelings get solid connections here. And this is what Dark was looking for. That's a massive trade. 10 SCVs go down, but more importantly, ByuN gives up the sieged up position. He gives up this position on the map, and his momentum, such as it was, is broken right before 2-2. Right before he has this powerful upgrade timing where 2-2 Marines against 1-1 Ling Bane is very, very much Terran favored. It's not as bad as 3-3 versus 2-2, but it's still very much a timing. So, I feel like ByuN would have rather waited until the hatch goes down and then kill it, because there's no way Dark cancels that quickly enough, right? Just, it would have been an immediate snipe, and that, well, you know, 300 minerals is a little bit better to kill than 50. Even still, ByuN still has, of course, pressure here, or pushing power here. He's building 15 Marines at a time. He has this 2-2. He's pulled a classic ByuN and forgotten his attack upgrade. Generally, though, he forgets armor, not attack. And in the balance of power, I'd rather have +3 attack over armor, so there is that. And Dark is still only on 5 bases. It's a 4-base Terran, you know. It's not the end of the world for ByuN. He still has this power. His, by the way, the hive is done. We have Vipers on the field, so you can drop Blinding Clouds on the tanks. You can drop Parabombs on the medevacs, certainly. And actually, you know, even just Blinding Clouds on Marines, I really like. It forces them to either, they run forward and, ooh, these medevacs are, one goes down, second one gets very low. It forces them to either run into Banes and messes with their AI, or you got to pull back, and it makes the fight a lot harder for the Zerg, or for the Terran player. So I do like that idea, but ByuN now +3 attacks on the way. He's still, he doesn't have the upgrade timing, right? It's 2-2 versus 2-2, but he's got a lot of bio. 140 army supply when he maxes out, and it's just Marines. There's no Marauder, there's no tech behind this. He's building, you know, tanks a little bit. He's actually only on single factory, yeah, so tanks 1 at a time. And now ByuN's trying to move in here because there's a counterattack on the other side. What do we have here defensively? We're going to take a look at it in a second. Tank Marines actually well positioned for the Banelings. They trundle through on everything. So ByuN feels like he's got to get something done here. There's run by from Dark running roughshod. Well, actually, no, it's not. Looks like for the most part, it's trading army for army here. ByuN, there's the Blinding Clouds. Has to kite back against it. Parabombs is in a lot of these metavex as well. But ByuN holds his position. And when we're talking about nade racks, you really do want to break the Terran back in a significant way. So what are we looking at Baneling count wise? Okay. There are 17 Banelings on the map. I was going to say, it's like, it gets a little scary, right? If Dark spent all of his Banes, it's a little bit rough, but no, he does have the tank. He does have the Baneling count. And now ByuN going to try to re-engage a little bit more of the tank. These tank positions are fantastic as well. More SCVs will fall. But now Dark's just going to try to run right on through. More Parasitic Bombs. No Blinding Clouds on the tanks, though. And this gives ByuN license to stim through. +3 armor is going to be done soon. But it's the attack upgrade that will truly matter here. I think this, but yeah, Dark just is going to have to give up another base. And the problem with giving this base up, Dark maybe going to look to get a little bit more. But the problem with giving this base up, you give up 2 bases. The north side base as well. ByuN can just stim on top of this. Maybe the drones get out. We're going to have to see if ByuN's going to be able to chase that down. But it's wild here with how much value Darks have been getting on the run bys, killing off worker after worker, tank after tank. ByuN all of a sudden is up in supply. ByuN just knocked 2 bases Dark down. Dark's economy is not in the best position. The target fire on these tanks is solid on the Banelings, but not enough for the time being, so he will be forced back here. But all of a sudden, yeah, the drones are going to go down too. Dark's going to drop down to about 58 workers. He's only on 4 bases, or actually, not even that. This gold base isn't done. This extra Dark's on 3 base mining, and less than that even. All the gold he's got. What is this? Very, very few mineral patches. Dark's economy is shattered in this game. The drones trying to fight a little bit, such as they can, because there's no way they're escaping. I mean, Dark's in such a rough spot. Dark, of course, the master of the comeback. He knows how to make things happen, but he's building ultras here. And there's no chitinous plating. So these are +3 armor ultras, which are nice, certainly. There's a lot of HP, a lot of armor. But they will still die. You want to get them up to +5, and that's when these Marines are going to start to go down. Oh, God, this run by is getting nothing done. It's going to cancel the command center. Maybe even kill the command center. Yeah, it did kill the command center, so there's that. But ByuN's going to knock the gold base down. Vipers are here. But ByuN it's a limitless supply of bio at this point. The Banelings are going to try to run forward. Blinding Clouds just totally whiff. And at this point, I'm not sure what Dark's supposed to do. The ultras are kind of a Hail Mary. And it looks like maybe a couple more SCVs went down. But ByuN, 53 workers here when he's got the mules that he does are more than enough. And by the way, Dark's economy's worse. And now ByuN, he's got more tech labs. He's got 3 Marauders on the way at a time. And with chitinous plating, it's not done just, it'll be done soon. But with Dark's economy as it is, even with chitinous, okay, those are good Blinding Clouds. That's going to force ByuN back quite a ways. Actually, has to cut away at this priest. That one Baneling is really scary. Traps him from behind. Wait a minute here, Dark. Is this enough? No, he's gonna have to run through the choke. But even still, these ultras are terrifying. They have 5 armor. This base is gonna get. Was that killed again? No, it's gonna get canceled. ByuN, problem is, this is kind of feels like it's Dark's last army, so he has to win the game with this. And the Marines, in fairness, are very overstimmed. They're not doing a lot, but now Marauders are going to start to pop out. Marauders, you'd rather have Ghosts, certainly, but I mean, Dark with these ultras is kind of winning the game. At the very least, he's buying himself room back into this game. ByuN lost so much of his army right there. Just not ready for the transition. So ByuN's a 4-base Terran. Dark is a 4-base Zerg. No one's got any money in their main or the natural. Not really. Natural 1 mineral patch, 150 minerals. Main base, not a ton here. 350. Lings are going to try to run by. Scan gets dropped. That's fine. I feel like ByuN just has to lift the main. I don't think he got... So it's funny, we look at this and it's like, yeah, ByuN, 3,000 minerals a minute, 2,500 minerals a minute. That's a lie. That's not the truth. That's mules. That doesn't count. That just means that ByuN is mortgaging his future for his present right now. And I think ByuN does have to go lift up a base and just put it elsewhere because you don't have the money. Yeah, he's got 1K, 2K in the bank. But you realistically, man, 13 more SCVs go down. ByuN doesn't have the money to go in. He can't really afford to go build another base. He's had 2 canceled on the gold. Lift it up. Go take this right side base. Make that happen. ByuN's got a big army supply lead, though. But they see these infestors complicate matters in the extreme. There are no ghosts. There's nothing to deal with these infestors. And Dark, he's building a metric ton of them, right? We got 6 infestors on the map. The fungal, that's a good fungal to start here, but we need to see more fungal on the backside. Yeah, you're just fungling everything. Dark, I think he's got the comeback happening, and this army is going to get shattered off the fungals. Off creep, it's a little scarier. There's no way ByuN runs not creep anymore. And by the way, the run bys are doing such a good job. These lings, they're feisty. They got +3. They have adrenal. Dark is the gun's dead. Oh, what a game. Dark's dead. Dark wins. ByuN's dead. Holy crap. So Dark's going pool first here. But it's not a crazy aggressive pool. It wasn't a 12 pool or something. I guess 12 pool's not even all that aggressive, but what was this like? This was like a 15 pool. All right, so Dark goes 15 pool. Sure. First of all, this keeps you safe. This means that proxy 2 racks is probably not gonna get a ton done. It also means, by the way, talking about proxy 2 racks, it also means that the 2 racks Reaper in the wall play isn't gonna get a ton done here. So I like Dark's series planning. I think it's very good as we talk about kind of how the game's gonna go. I think he has a really, I mean, what, they Dark and ByuN have played 100 series against each other in the last 5 years. That's a lot. And I'm sure they practice, they play each other on ladder a ton. They practice together, I'm sure. Depending on who, depending on their groups for the GSL, for example, they may or may not practice against each other. But this build, well, ByuN is, again, he's so good with his Reapers. We saw that in the Nightmare series. And we saw that in the World Championship against Dark, by the way. But this build's been mostly figured out. You open up pool first, maybe. You go 15-15. And, I mean, this was like 15-18 or something, 16-18. But you get your lings out. The Reapers don't get a lot done. Maybe you have some counterattack potential. The other way that Dark could be taking this is he's got a bunch of gas. He's 128 gas, no speed. Never mind, speed's on the way. I was going to say the other way Dark can take this is if he goes and... Ooh, 3rd racks here. Oh, again, getting spicy. Would be some sort of roach pressure. Because Crimson Court is a very short map. You can run across the map pretty quickly, get damage done. We've seen a lot of all-ins on this map. But ByuN adding in that 3rd racks. Is this a 3-1-1? Is this like a stim combat shield timing? Is this just for more Reapers? Yeah, it's going to be for the Marine timing, for the stim timing off that. Just going to stop at 3 Reapers for now, because if this was a 3 racks Reaper, you would have gotten the 3rd barracks a lot faster. So for now, 3rd rack's done. ByuN dives in the main base, gets a drone. That's always going to be pretty solid. I'm really curious to see where this goes. Again, these are builds that we don't see all that often. ByuN game 1, remember, that was a 3 racks 3 CC build. Aggressively greedy is probably the way we talk about it. Where this goes though, oh, dodging out, trying to find his way in, but a queen here is enough to zone. If you go up to 6 Reapers, you can kill queens. You can still kill queens with 3 Reapers if you're good enough and your opponent is bad enough. But unfortunately for ByuN, Dark is good enough that it's probably not going to happen. By the way, also really good news for Dark, or for ByuN, excuse me. He's on the north side of the map. As these Reapers are going to go down, get caught out by the speedlings. Okay, there we go. But good news for ByuN. He's on the right side of the map, which means his add-ons are not exposed. That is actually so much better for the Terran player. As Dark really looks for a scout, wants to see what's happening. He's not really going to know much of what's happening, though. This doesn't really reveal all that much. And Dark's going to take the forward base. He's going to take the rich gas base, and I'm a little afraid of this. Dark is, of course, going roaches out of this, which I think is a good idea. If you go roaches like that, what that means is you have a stronger early game fighting force that can work out pretty nicely. But I think this base is very easily siegeable. You put a tank on the bottom of the ramp and it becomes very hard for Dark to break that down, even with roaches and ravagers. So we're gonna have to see exactly how this goes. Roaches are now on the way. Stim's just about done. It's not a lot of bio though, not just yet. Because ByuN taking advantage there, of course, from the line of sight blocker, maybe catch some more lanes. But Stim's done. Combat shield, of course, not on the way, so ByuN missing about like 20% potential HP on this army. But as he goes and gets ready to attack into here, I don't know if he... how many roaches do we have? Is this 6 roaches? Yeah, oh, look at that trap from ByuN. Line of sight block, and the roaches were not ready for it. All of a sudden, it was 6 roaches, now it's 3. Now the queens are going to go down here. Lings, it's going to be army for army at the end of the day, but this is, I think... Yeah, this is far more expensive for Dark than it was for ByuN. Dark doesn't lose the base, which is the really important thing. But ByuN's building a lot of Marines, and I think he's maybe got some room for rejoinder. More importantly, though, Dark had to build a lot more roaches. Dark is down on workers compared to ByuN. Making up for it now, and it is 3 hatch to 2, so you can catch back up pretty quickly if you need to. But that's a pretty solid early trade for ByuN. Is this just going to be a 2 base all in, though? I mean, now, okay, this is going to be a 3rd command center right here. ByuN getting ready for it. So it is a later 3rd base. It's going to go down at the 6-minute mark. Generally, you want to go a little bit sooner, but ByuN's follow-up here, right? Okay, so this is Dark's going Roach Ravager. And actually, he's very heavily supply blocked. 97 out of 98. Literally nothing on the way. Not a single Overlord on the way. Dark's in so much trouble right now, actually. Ling in the main base gets a scout off, wants to see what it can see. Marines should handle this for the most part. 3 Overlords are going to get made right now. And if ByuN went right now, he'd be in such a good spot, but he doesn't know how supply block Dark is. He doesn't know what an opportunity he has. With +1, with all this stim bio dropping in the main base, that's not a lot of roaches here. Tries to get on top of it. Overlord maybe going to be a target. Drones are going to go down. Roaches go down. Now the army gets itself together. Man, if ByuN just ran up the ramp into the... I think he kills the 3rd base. There's really not a lot there. Ooh, that's a pretty exposed Evo. Weird route for the Marines to take, but it does mean it's a little bit harder for these drones to escape. So ByuN getting a lot of damage done. And that's actually one of the things that becomes really painful when you go Roach Ravager. Dark is really good at defending it for the most part, but your army is not mobile. You are extremely vulnerable to these drops like what ByuN's going for. So did he get a queen there? He got queens too. So 2 queens, 12 drones, 6 roaches for the low cost of about 19 Marines, a couple medevac, or a single medevac. ByuN is... It's going... Okay. We talk about how good of a position ByuN is in this game number 2. Generally, the Zerg player right now would want to be up about 30 or 40 army supply. That's how roaches work. That's how Roach Ravager works. Dark, for the most part, is within 10. That doesn't feel particularly good. Feels pretty rough. Now we're starting to get to the point where Dark supply is starting to skyrocket a little bit more. His 1-1's going to be done soon. Well, I was going to say that, but yeah, just keeps catching up. 1-1's going to be done soon, and that does, you know, make life a little bit easier for Dark, certainly, as ByuN's 1-1's going to be done right around the same time. Dark seems like he's not going to try to go for any sort of aggressive option, and he just can't. He's taken enough damage at this point that is not really something that is viable. So burrow movement is pretty cool. I like that a lot, and especially if you're kind of behind, you're gonna try to find some way to come back. But really, this is going into hive. Infestation pit just about done. He can't build the hive immediately because there's a queen on the way, but in general, we're gonna see hive get started pretty quickly. I think I wouldn't be surprised to see a hydrogen go down and turn this into kind of a lurker play. But even just getting infestation pit and a Nidus network. Those signal 2 different things. One of these things signals I'm going to be defensive. I'm going to sit back. I'm going to get up into my hive. I'm maybe going to get some infestors, and I'm just going to try to play safe. The other one says I'm going to get pretty aggressive here. I've got a Nidus, so I'm curious which one it's going to be for now. The Roach one's going to go down. Burrow movement, tunneling claws denied. ByuN also aware that there's a Nidus on the map. So that kind of Hail Mary play coming out of Dark is just not going to work out particularly well. ByuN's ahead on... Okay, losing the meta back. ByuN's ahead 10 army supply against the Roach Ravager player. And yeah, infestors are expensive. Sure. But, I mean, life is hard. To quote my girlfriend's... I think, math teacher back in high school. Life sucks and then you die. And that's kind of what's happening to Dark in this game. Life sucks and then he's potentially going to die. Now there's a Nidus going to go up. ByuN snipes an infestor. Fungal lands, but there's no follow-up. And that's kind of the goal. You want to have the bios to follow up with this. Otherwise, it's just rough. Now the Nidus pops up, and Roach is going to show up in the main base here. Dark trying to drag. Well, it's going to try to drag ByuN back home, but ByuN's just going to go all in. Now, here's the question. Can ByuN pull a rabbit out of a hat 2 times in a row? The Nidus, the really aggressive Nidus, is going to get knocked down for the time being. ByuN kind of waffling in the middle of the map right now. He's going to losing a barracks. Very nice. SCVs are going to have to get pulled here. I think Dark has to... Oh, no. He's going to commit more. Can he hold on to this forward base? That's really the important question. Festers, more of them are on the way. What do we have right now? We got 1 on the map. 1 was sniped. Dark just has to give up the rich gas base up. It's too scary. And the roaches in the main base are going to get dealt with. So that rabbit, unfortunately, is going to get turned into some paella, right? It's not not really going to work out all that well. And now Dark sees a 3-hatch Zerg. He's got his hive done, sure. He's getting in more infestors, but this rabbit that he's trying to pull out of a hat is starting to feel more like the Easter Bunny. Starting to feel a little bit more mythical and a little bit less real the longer this game goes. You know, it's kind of one of those funny things, right? You're like, yeah, this is clearly not going to work. Well, yeah, Dark is Dark, and Dark has made, he's made crazier comebacks happen, to be totally honest. The fungal doesn't really land, as Dark is kind of benefiting. Talk about this. Oh, ooh, nice Nidus positioning. What even had the... Yeah, okay, the Overlord on the high ground had the vision for that. I was going to say, what even had the vision for that one? And this Nidus should pop up. But, nah, not be... Yeah, 2 roaches pop out. Those are free 2 roaches for Dark to kill. He's going to drop one of them, and it will force a scan, so there is that. But not much more than that. Dark has had more comebacks of this magnitude than anyone. So even as we say, wow, Dark is very dead in this game, he is. It's pretty rough. I'm never going to be surprised. Dark pulled a rabbit out of a hat in game number 1. He was very dead. And then Ultras said, hey, Ultras kill Marines really nicely. And Gun was chased across the map, lost the game. Granted, there's no Hail Mary attack ready for Dark right now. That's kind of the big thing. He's got his hive done, Vipers on the way, Adrenal, +1 melee. But there's nothing like, there's no technical tech counter that might make up for a supply deficit. Not really. And that's really the important thing to talk about. So ByuN is on 4 bases. Dark's trying to retake his 4th base. That feels so bad. This drop on the main base. 1 medevac goes down, sure, but still, that's a lot of stuff. And by the way, Adrenals are gonna get sniped. There we go. No more Lings anymore. Dark can't make those. This rich gas base also dead. Dark is dead. Yeah, it's funny. Dark tapping out at about 180 supply because there was no world where he was going to be able to make that happen. But we moved to game 3, all tied up, and no early pool from Dark in this game number 3. And it makes sense, right? Early pools, you do it on maps that you think ByuN's going to do a 2 racks, a Reaper in a wall, something like that, and that's just not happening. Well, not going to happen on this map, I guess is the way to say that. And it is, I think it's fascinating the way we've seen this 2 racks build appear, disappear over and over again. It's something that is very good. That was very good, I guess. It's okay now, and if you're ByuN, it's always going to be pretty good. But interesting pool placement. Doesn't really, probably not going to impact things all that much. I think it's just to scout the Reaper Cliff. But ByuN, is this going to be 2 racks 3cc again? Was this Reaper? No, this was CC first. Okay, so ByuN went CC first into 2 racks. This is, again, where ByuN is really throwing the builds out today, which is wild because the GSL's in a week. And who is in, actually, here's a question. Who's in ByuN's group? I know I was talking about it in an earlier series, but ByuN has, who's in ByuN's group? ByuN has Solar and DRG in his group. And I gotta say, DRG's maybe not the scariest. He's really good at ZVT sometimes. Depends on kind of what form he's in. But I gotta say, okay, 4 racks. Love this. CC first 4 racks. Generally, it's kind of funny. When a Terran player goes CC first, 80% of the time it's because they're going for an all-in, and you just want your money a little bit faster. So, 4 racks, CC first, ByuN just runs across the map. But again, DRG... It's always hard to tell what kind of form he's in, and he did have to qualify through Group 2, through Round 2 of the GSL. So, although he did qualify through the upper side, so it only took him 2 lives, I guess. And he did beat TY to make that happen. But again, beating TY, it's going to be interesting to see what form he's in. I haven't really had a chance to take a look at the GSL qualifier replays yet. But in general, I think ByuN showing so many odd builds. You know, CC first 4 racks, 3cc 3 racks. I guess the 2 racks in the wall Reaper's not all that weird for ByuN, but the rest of them are kind of odd. Very counter meta, off meta build, something that you might expect to show in a best of 3 in a GSL in a preparation based format. So given the GSL is about a week and a half away, I gotta say, I think I'm a little surprised to see ByuN using these. But who knows? We're gonna have to see how exactly it works out. You know, maybe these might just be red herrings, right? The other way you could take a look at this and say, well, I have I'm kind of already started to prep for my GSL group because it came out yesterday. I know I got 2 Zergs in the group. Okay. I'm going to start to seed the data with bad data. I'm going to start to throw some red herrings out there. I'm going to say, hey, yeah, this is the type of builds I'm favoring. Sure, I'm favoring these aggressive, heavy racks openers. And yeah, this is what you got to prep for Solar. This is what you got to prep for DRG. And then he just doesn't show it. Just doesn't go for it. And that's also kind of way to think about it, because when you talk about prep stuff like this, it's important to prep for your opponent, but it's also important to make it hard for your opponent to prep for you. So for right now, Dark is aware of what's happening, but he's caught droning. That's the problem. He has literally 1 Ling on the map. He was very greedy with his Ling count. He's got 8 queens, and that does make a big difference. But ByuN moves out as there were 12 drones on the production tab, 7 drones on the production tab, 12 Lings are on the way, 14 Lings are on the way. Dark is briefly supply blocked as well. Combat shield's done in 5 seconds. That's when ByuN really wants to make this happen. For now, drop scans. There's going to be no creep. This is a lot of queens, though. We talked about how there's no Lings. ByuN, it's not enough Marines to bust through the queens, I don't think, even as the Lings are going to start to show up here. ByuN, this is just... Queens are beefy units. I don't think this works. What are we looking at? 8 queens on the map? For some... Looked like more than 8. 8 queens on the map. ByuN, even with stim combat shields, not going to be able to crunch through it. Doing a good job of denying creep, and he did force a decent amount of Lings out. But Dark's immediately back to droning. He knows that he doesn't have to be afraid of this, not with a queen count as it is. So even though Dark was extremely greedy with his Ling count, because he kind of got this idea that it's probably not Hellions. I haven't seen a single Hellion on the map. That's just not going to happen. Well, he's going to be fine. So now Dark, the moment this didn't work, fourth and fifth hatch on the way, 1-1 halfway done. And if you go for 4 racks like this, it's not the end of the world if you don't win the game. Technically, you know, ByuN's got their base on the way, so he can technically play out of this. But you give the Zerg so much room, it becomes very hard for ByuN to do anything he wants to do. +1 might be a bit of a timing when medevacs are out. But very quickly, we're going to start to see the Zerg grow to extreme extents. 1-1 going to be done right around the time Lair is done, so 2-2 is going to get started pretty quickly. Alien Nest is going to be done pretty soon. They're not ready just yet, so there's not going to be splash to deal with this. And maybe with the medevacs and the bio, +1 done in about 20 seconds or so, maybe ByuN can make something happen. We're going to have to see. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. For now, though, I think this hatch is dead. It's going to be, yeah, ByuN can see, yeah, this hatch is just going to get canceled. Dark cannot quite save that. But I think that's fine. You know, Dark, he double expanded, sure. He still has that 4th base on the way. So even though technically ByuN just canceled a base and not great, this is fine. Dark is, his drone count's a little low. Maybe there is that. And interesting as well. So Dark, he's got his 1-1-2-2 on the way. He is just running headlong into Hive at this point. Infestation pit just about done. We might see a pit stop for Infestors, and given the way this game is going, actually, I really like that. A couple fungals on this, and just this army disappears. So adding Infestors would be pretty cool. For now, 1-1 versus just +1. Dark got better. Dark has better upgrades. Army supply is better. Gonna try to cut down on reinforcements. That's actually not a good trait. And remember, Dark's only on 61 drones. We're gonna see the tanks. They should just get picked up right now. Pretty good fight for the bio for the most part. That's a lot of dead Lings. And ByuN just retreats back behind his wall. Has to, I was gonna say has to up the wall, but no, he's got enough bio right there. SCV's pulled briefly off, and all of a sudden, ByuN, those are some pretty good trades against the Ling. He's gonna try to get the siege to position on the right side, start to maybe get this tank to kind of wedge right up against things, start to make life really complicated for Dark, because now ByuN, his +1 armor is not going to be done anytime soon, but he does have a supply lead. He's got stim, combat shields, and Dark is just gonna, I think he might just have to give this position up once again. ByuN is in just a, not unassailable. I think Dark can make this defense happen, but it is tricky. It's funny. I'm looking at this. I'm like, I feel like Dark should be able to defend this base. This bio army is good, sure. But that's a wide open ramp that you can just run Lings down. You can get your surround set up, and I think he can just flood this down. But Dark clearly doesn't think so, and he would just rather buy some time, expand away from where the Terran player is, and just say, yeah, ByuN, you can have this base, sure. I got my Hive done, because the Hive is, by the way, the Hive is done. I can add Adrenal, I can add Vipers. You're getting this base if you eventually get this base. I mean, there's a lot of transfuse energy, so that may not even happen. You get this base, you're fine, but I'm leapfrogging you so far in tech that it's just not even funny. And by the way, the other thing he's waiting for, 2-2's just about done. He's going to have 2-2 Ling Pain against 1-1 Bio, and all of these things together mean that, yeah, I don't think ByuN takes this. Fourth base is going to get canceled, certainly. And okay, so thinking back on this a little bit more now, I didn't think, I guess ByuN does get the hatch, sure. This was just one of those things where it's like, okay, I'm just not going to lose my drones, is really the thought. No, I mean, flooding down the ramp, 2-2 versus 1-1, everything's dead, right? It's just not even close. It's just, I think it's just a question of, I'm just not going to lose my drones, as we're going to see the Ultra Cavern and not get sniped. Bailings are where they need to be, so ByuN, excellent job. They're staying alive, and now Dark's a 4-hatch Zerg. It's a 3-base Terran. It's not horrible. But ByuN is so far behind in tech. Like, that is really the story. ByuN is 2-2's halfway done. +1 mech attack on the way. He's adding a second factory, 4 more barracks. He's leaning into that 8 racks idea. But our Ultra Cavern's done for Dark. We saw how good his Ultras were in game 1 when he was behind. Here, he's indubitably ahead. There is nothing. And ByuN just can't afford ghosts. So even if the supplies are pretty even if technically the upgrades are going to match up pretty soon. First of all, Adrenal's +3 for the Ling, so there's that. It's a big difference. And I'm a little surprised to see Dark not adding kindness. I'm a little surprised to not see him adding ultras, but I guess, you know, his economy, he's only on 57 drones. He's kind of all in on this, actually, and he's going to try to run right through ByuN. How good's your micro bailing connections to the start? Pretty solid. ByuN has to cut away a little bit more tanks. They're going down for the time being. This is right before 1-1 is done, right before Drilling Claws gets canceled. 23 workers die, and ByuN is just dead. Okay, I was going to say, you know, Dark's kind of all in on this. Economy's not great, but he just busts ByuN right on down, and that means Dark, he's up 2-1. So where do we go here? It's going to be CC first again for ByuN. All right. Command center first. And, you know what? I'll sign he's a big map. I don't hate it. I think that's pretty reasonable. But question is, where's the follow-up, right? Last game, we saw CC first into a 4 racks. And generally, command center first leads into some sort of timing. At one point in time, it was Hellbats. Hellbats are not good anymore, especially, well, I guess the nerf only really impacted +3. Impacted when they're +3 blue flame. But, you know, Hellbats have been solved. I'm of the Atosis camp where I'm going to say that, yeah, don't show Hellbats. Hellbat timings are just horrible, and it's not something I think of ByuN as a player doing as well. So for now, 2 racks off the CC. Is he just going to do the same thing? I think he might be going, well, this is 2 gas. I don't like doing the same thing over and over again. You know, it's funny. The Einstein quote says, you know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Yeah, I think that's true. ByuN here is doing the same thing as he did in game number 2, and he's going to be expecting different results. So for now, Tech Lab goes down in barracks number 1. Or excuse me, Reactor goes down in barracks number 1. Probably a Tech Lab in barracks number 2. This might just be a 2-1-1. Yeah, okay, so more of a 2-1-1 setup here. CC first, 2-1-1. Means it hits a little faster, maybe hits a little bit harder. Again, I think it's pretty cool that we're seeing very off-meta builds from ByuN in this series. We saw, what was it? We saw, I remember the build in game 1 was pretty cool. Blanking on it at the moment. Yeah, 3 racks, 3 CC. Game 2, 2 racks in the Wall Reaper. Okay, that's pretty standard for ByuN. And then game 3, CC first, 4 racks. Now we're seeing a CC first, 2-1-1. It's pretty cool that we're seeing ByuN try these different ideas. Now, the downside of any of these things that ByuN's done in the last 2 games, you lose out on all map control for quite a while. No Reapers, no Hellions, nothing to curtail creep. Dark can drone like a madman. In fact, he's doing the same thing right now. Look at this. He's built 2 Lings. There's no Reaper bothering him. He knows he doesn't have to build anything more. So what this means, as we talk about, you know, what you can do as the Terran player, what value you can find. Dark really, like, Dark is gonna naturally, Dark's gonna pull ahead when you go up for anything like this. Economically, he's gonna pull ahead. You have to get damage done if you're going for a 2-on-1, even if it is CC first and therefore your economy's a little bit better than it would otherwise be. You do have to pull ahead. So Stim's gonna be done right around the 430 mark. Medevacs are going to be done right around the same time. So this doesn't really even speed things up all that much. You start in a traditional 2-on-1, you move out on the map at 4:30. And for the most part, I think ByuN's going to be moving out right around the same time. 3 queens on the way. So Dark, yeah, he's not building any lings. He is building queens. He's going to go up to 8 of them pretty quickly, which I like. 8 queens defensively. Really hard to push through. Stark's having his cake and he's eating it too. He's getting 4th base on the way, probably before the 5-minute mark, based on where this drone is going. As he mines out the wall, double. I'm getting deja vu all over again. Yes, technically this is different. This is a 2-1-1. It's not a 4x. But this does, I mean, first of all, it's now totally scouted. Dark's well aware of what's happening. This means he can build drone. Okay, so Dark is supply blocked briefly. He did lose an overlord. 3 more overlords on the way at a time here. And Dark shouldn't get the 4th base now. I think you build lings off this. Yeah, 8 queens is a lot, but you do need a little bit more to kind of buffer for it. So I like what Dark's doing here. He's posturing out on the map a little bit more. Another overlord goes down, but still Dark's not supply blocked. 28 lings on the way. Generally, the math says you want, against a 2-1-1, you want 32 lings. Oh, he's going to try to run around where the queens are, but he can't unload because the ling's right there. And the first hit of this 2-1-1 gets nothing done. Dark, he's only on 54 workers. He's building a ton more lings. He's going up to, I guess he's right around that 32 mark, so never mind. We got the count perfectly. And behind this, there's the 4th base on the north side. It's away from where this 2-1-1 is trying to hit. 1-1's on the way, adding the Baneling Nest. And again, ByuN, stem on top of the queens maybe, but now the lings are here, so that doesn't become possible. Slim window, as he loses a Marine for it. Maybe a slim window where he can get something done. But for now, that window is roughly closed. So, 3rd command center. I saw 3rd command center. But 3rd command center is not on the way, to be clear. And where does ByuN go from here, right? He's got 3-1-1. I would expect he's banking money for it. I would expect to see a 3rd command center go down pretty quickly, or additional barracks. Go up to 5 racks. Sure, turn this into a 2-base all-in ByuN. And it's going to be 5 racks. Okay, I was going to say, but you got to do something, right? You're starting to bank money here. You do need a 3-1-1 for forever is just not how you win a game of StarCraft. This is a lot of bio, though. +1's going to be done soon. He's got tanks. Banelings are not done yet. And even when they are, they're not going to have speed. ByuN has a pretty powerful timing right now. And I think Dark, I don't know that he has to give this position up just yet, because this is a ready-made surround that ByuN's attacking into. 1-1's going to be done very soon. Yeah, Dark, look at this. Maybe knocking down some reinforcements, maybe just getting ready for the surround. I don't know, but how do you? 1-1's done. Baneling speed's not done just yet, so maybe ByuN gets this base. Dark might be waiting for that, but now Ling's on the... Yeah, no, this is rough. I don't think ByuN Yeah, the tanks are going to go down. Dark, he's going to be okay with sacking the rest at this point. Man, ByuN's going to target those down. A nice target fire there, ByuN, but he's down upgrades. Oh, dropping the main base denies +2 armor, and that actually is a pretty big deal. Dark, big upgrade lead right now. 1-1's done. Only +1's done for ByuN. But if he can go snipe the second evil pretty soon, he can actually equalize upgrades pretty significantly. ByuN is getting something done here, even as that timing from Dark was really nice on the 1-1, sweeping down the ramp. He would have loved Baneling's speed, but he keeps the base alive, and that truly is all that matters. So now, all right. ByuN's still getting aggressive, and a reminder, this is all in. ByuN, he's going to float his main base over when he runs out of money on that one, when the muling eventually expends the resources there. But there's no 3rd command center. This is ByuN, again, 5 Rex. He's all in. Dark's on 5 hatch. ByuN needs to get a lot done. And again, delaying the carapace like that, delaying +2, is a pretty big deal. But ByuN has to get so much more done. And Dark's going for a run by. He might think this is not... I think he's got the wrong read here. I think he thinks this is less all-in than it is. He checks the 3rd base. There's no 3rd base. So now Baneling's morphing on the other side. Maybe he's just going to try to bust down the wall, I guess. We're going to have to see. All sound. Testing. Why did game sound go away? Is this a bug? I don't know, but at least you can hear me, so that's really all that matters. Now Dark's going to try to go up the ramp. We're going to try to solve this in a second. And it's rough. That's a lot of Marines are going to go down. Dark right through the middle of the ramp here. ByuN, he's got his army on the north side. Bailing's bust through everything. There's a second wall of supply depots. That means ByuN is just incredibly supply blind. Testing, testing. Okay, there we go. Now my audio's back at the very least. I don't know what happened to. I can't hear myself anymore. Something got screwed up with my audio. But Dark on the other side, 37 drones are gonna go down. I don't know how much you missed of the cast. I'm really sorry about that. But at least you have my. I can't fix the game audio. I think my audio device briefly lost power, is what happened. But anyways, you can hear me now. The Natural's dead. ByuN is so dead in this game. Holy crap. Yeah, ByuN lost. In the meantime, when I was trying to solve some things, ByuN did get 2 bases. And the army supply is really good. ByuN's got 2/2. Lings are going to start to go down. Liberator as well. Wait, does ByuN have that? Target fire? Nope. No, he doesn't. Never mind. A lot of really solid Bailey connections. And the other problem, Ultras are on the way. Ultras are on the map. They don't have chitinous. They only have +2 armor, but they're just beefy. They do splash damage here. ByuN tries to kite away, targets the Bailings down as well as he can. No. I don't believe it. A bunch of queens are burrowed on where the 4th base once was. I think that was a bit of a misclick. But yeah, so yeah, there we go. Dark wins the game 3-1. Sorry about the audio snafus. I think my audio device just briefly lost power. Regardless, we caught the end of it. And now Dark wins the series 3-1. He's your champion. EPT Korea 224.